Yeah, beautiful. Hi, welcome, Tony Noriega, founder of Ventura County Business Women. We're here for the Marketing Power Hour. So this happens on the third Wednesday of every month, free to ecosystems members. And the intention, like I was kind of just sharing with you, is marketing is a whole thing. There's so many different factors, and especially for small business owners, on top of all of the things you have to do, and then you add the whole deal with marketing, it can be overwhelming, stressful. Sometimes we get a little stuck, a little stagnant, a little overwhelmed, so then it kind of bottlenecks our business growing. So that's why today we thought would be a perfect theme to talk about is how are we bottlenecking in our business? The flow for today, we'll introduce ourselves. Y'all have an opportunity to share a little bit about who you are in your business, and then we'll dive into the monthly topic. We'll have a little time for community discussion and Q&A. And then, like I said, we'll have some time at the end where you can really take a breath, see what we were talking about, look at your business, and then let's get some things done before you hop off. Sound good? Awesome. Okay, so I'm here, we're part of marketing. So I had a marketing company before launching Ventura County Business Women. That's actually kind of how it happened, is because I was a brand new little mama. I was like 23, and I was trying to figure out what am I supposed to do and how can I stay with my baby and make money to provide. My family had two businesses up in Ohio. We had Bonnie Lou's Cafe, which we still do, and then we had a coffee shop, Love Social Cafe. It used to be called No Sovita, so it depends if you've ever heard either one of those names. And it set me on a journey of figuring out how do I grow a business without spending money. You know, my family are small business owners. We were kind of in that position of how do we make money without spending money, but yet you still kind of had to spend money to make money. So eventually, skipping a whole lot of it, I ended up creating a marketing company. It used to be called Teal Wing Marketing. I would do like full social media posts, content creation, engagement, all the freaking things. Look at Kristen's about to tell you her story. She knows how much stuff goes into marketing. And what I really saw was, just the opportunity to find all these loopholes, how to have organic growth, how to really understand who I am as a business owner, how the business operates, who it's for, and then clearly communicate that on social media platforms. And I was really successful at it. Then we launched Ventura County Business Women. So that's like a new scale for me of marketing, because that's kind of ends up what we end up being. We're networking, and then we help promote all of these amazing women in our community. So my specialty is really Facebook, Instagram, organic growth, community building, and that's why I'm here to really support today. Kristen, girl, you want to share a little bit about who you are and all your magic?
Hey, yeah, thank you. I'm Kristen Fickeisen. Used to be Kristen O'Brien, now Kristen Fickeisen. I'm the founder of Co-Create Marketing. I started actually my first business when I was a young mom. I had a corporate job, and I really was trying to figure out how I could spend more time with my babies. And so I started an e-commerce gig online, and I worked so hard to put it all together, to create my website, to make it all perfect. And then all of a sudden, when I launched it, I was just twiddling my thumbs like, okay, where is everyone? And I didn't understand the marketing piece. So that's what kind of made me kind of dive into that. And so I've had several businesses since then. I just launched fully into the entrepreneur world after that. I thought, oh my gosh, there's so much to learn. I'm meeting so many people. It's really exciting being around people that are doing their own thing and have all this great motivation and creativity. So I now have Co-Create Marketing, which I opened a couple years ago. So I help entrepreneurs pretty much simplify their marketing and identify where the gaps are. Is it sales? Is it capacity issue? Like, do you have too many people and you can't service them anymore? Just kind of identify those gaps and then put together a roadmap on how to get past those things and start moving forward again so that your business is thriving. So we do a lot of social media and digital marketing, email, newsletters, sales funnels, and things like that. I had a couple of clients in the beginning and I was feeling really good about that. And then I had some conversations with Tani, and she she mentored me through the beginning stages of it, which was really, really, really helpful for me. And so I think it's really great that we're doing this together. We get to learn a lot from each other.
Absolutely. And it's really like that collaboration. And just in case you missed it in the chat, Kristen is also our social media manager. So if you see how we're growing on social media, our content, we also have Bailey who handles graphics. So again, us marketing, it takes a village sometimes. And so we really want to make marketing wherever you're focusing in your journey, making it simple, making it clear, making it easy to understand. And most importantly, marketing is specific to you. So we also really take the stance, both of us, where there's not one strategy for every single person. So that is really why we host this every month, because your business is going to change. There's so much diversity in here. And so we just have the time and opportunity. Where are you at? What do you need? How do you work? What are you trying to build? And then with our expertise and even the other, like you all have done marketing in some capacity. So we really get to have collaboration and support each other to move forward. Love that. I'm going to invite y'all to take a breath because I need one too. I'm about to dive up in this monthly theme. So grab some water real quick, grab your notes. We're about to go into it, y'all. Here we go. Okay, I want to pull my notes so I can still see you at the same time. Gorgeous. Okay, so this month we are talking about bottlenecking your marketing. So what does that actually mean? So when we're looking at what bottlenecking is, it's when something in your business slows down the flow. And in this particular case, we're talking about marketing. So there's something that's happening that's slowing down the results that could be getting produced inside of your marketing. It creates a situation where everything kind of depends on one person, one step, one decision. So that bottleneck, it kind of just like, I have done this and I'll share a little bit more. With marketing, Kristen knows I wasn't responsible for all the copy. But if I don't do the copy, then Bailey can't do the graphic, and then Kristen can't do the post. So I was bottlenecking. That would be like an example. So when that happens, marketing stops moving. One thing, because of one person or one step or one decision not being made or handled, it kind of messes up the whole entire other flow of the rest of what we've built, right? And when marketing stops moving, growth slows down, and then we're like, what is going on? The challenge is most people don't realize that they are bottlenecking. How's my internet? Because my screen looks slow. Good.
I can hear you. Great.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. Okay, so let's give some examples of how we can bottleneck in our marketing. Again, these are all very generalized, just so you can kind of find what you might be doing in your business. So perfectionism. Do you hear any of these? Drop it in the chat. Let us know. So perfectionism, that's waiting until something is perfect before sharing it. So some examples here on how perfectionism can start to bottleneck our marketing. Constantly rewriting captions over and over again. We get second guess. Is this how I really should say it? Do they understand this? Redesigning graphics repeatedly. Delaying posts because something isn't ready. I don't have all the info. I don't know how to communicate it, right? And then the result ends up being nothing actually gets posted, or it's very inconsistent. Let me know in the chat if you might deal with a little bit of perfectionism. Again, no judgment. We're just kind of being self-aware here. Another way we could bottleneck in our business, overthinking. Overthinking the strategy. You keep planning marketing instead of doing marketing. Let me say that again, because I have been guilty of this. You keep planning marketing instead of doing the marketing. Examples of this could be researching content endlessly, saving those posts but never actually publishing them, and taking courses but not implementing. I want to like highlight that part of taking courses, getting on marketing strategies, learning all the things, but not actually putting it into your business. Result, a lot of thinking, but not a lot of action. Let me know in the chat. Is this maybe something you're doing in your business as bottlenecking, overthinking the strategy? I'm an overthinker. Yeah. All right. Third one here that could be a potential bottleneck, lack of structure. So marketing only happens when you feel like this. This is a huge thing that I have seen working with business owners. Maybe Kristen has too. Where business owners, because of how much it takes to do marketing, if they are doing their marketing themselves, I mean, all of us could have been guilty. You wake up, you were feeling inspired the other day, you come ready to post and you're like, life is lifing and I'm not going to do it today. And so then it kind of ends up in then, guilt, shame, reservations, right? And so examples is like you're posting randomly. Creating content is last minute, day of, it's not intentional. You're not seeing how it flows into a big picture. And also forgetting email marketing, which is important. So the result ends up being inconsistent visibility. And one of the mindset pieces I've seen with that is because of our lack of structure of showing up even when we don't feel like it, when we're not consistent and there's not a lot of visibility and conversions, we start making it mean stuff about us. When really you just need to post consistently with intention and strategy. If you have a lack of structure, so I'll just way to put that in there, let us know. Again, no judgment. We all do things, but that's why we're here. Openly talk about it and make some moves. Last one I'd here to share of potential bottlenecking in your business is everything depends on you. This is probably my biggest one that I have dealt with. There is a bird that just landed on my window. That was crazy. Everything depends on you, which I think is most small business owners. So examples, you have to do everything. You got to approve the graphic, think of the caption. You got to do all of the scheduling. You're doing it all manually. You don't have automation. So then the result is marketing slows down because one person is overloaded. If that might be you, drop it in the chat. I want to give you some examples. Actually, yeah, I'm going to go through my examples, Kristen, and then pass it over to you. Does that sound right on their time? Cool. Okay, so some examples of systems that I have personally built in VCBW, because I have done all of these things in bottlenecking, and then I got squeezed so tight that, then I'm like, oh, I can't do that. So here's some things that I have put in place to help me prevent bottlenecking. I'm still learning though. Okay, I don't have it all figured out. We're still trying. Okay, so structured event calendar. So that's why you see that we have core events, because I was doing pop-up events just where I could, based on how I was feeling and what my life had for it. People didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. And like my life was kind of all over the calendar based on what I felt like. So a lot of my past 6 months has been about structured calendar, point blank, making sure that I know what's happening every single month, whether that's events, every task that I am responsible for and my team is responsible for my entire business is in my calendar. I love using Google, the Google tasks, they're crazy. So every month I know what is supposed to happen, so I do not have to think about it. So structured calendars, game changer. Then you also can, if you start having people support you, you can have them in the calendar, which makes such a big difference. Delegating marketing roles. So specifically because we're talking about marketing, so there, I was doing all of the marketing. So I was responsible for creating the graphics, writing the copy, doing the engagement, right? And like I'm telling you, it takes me probably like 2 to 3 hours to create 5 posts. And that's like copy, graphics, because I overthink the whole freaking thing. And then I got perfectionism, and then I'm remaking all the graphics. And then so sometimes I would post, sometimes I wouldn't, based on what I felt like. And then I'd get pissed off that like shit wasn't growing. So I had a lot of money conversations. I can't ask people for help. I don't make enough money. And so when I went to work on delegating, how do I actually delegate and stop doing everything by myself? I started having different conversations. And so Then it was like Bailey came in and she's like, I'll just do graphics because that's what she loves to do. And I was like, absolutely. One last thanks. I hate doing graphics. I'm not good at it. And then Kristen and I got connected, and she was just like, she's so good at what she does, but also at the same time, she could take me next level. So we were able, we're placing her. She does the scheduling of everything. And that in itself is like a freaking huge job because we're posting on so many different platforms. And then I just have to be responsible for copy because I freaking love that. I just actually, we just passed that over, I think like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. So I don't even have to do copy anymore. But when we start giving little jobs to people that love doing that, then like no one's overloaded. Everyone's in alignment. So I think having people, even if you're a small business owner and you're not building this crazy business that requires a ton of people, I really do think you need to have at least 2 to 3 solid ass people that are helping you some way, somehow in your business. Maybe it's talking things out, it's helping you with strategy, but trying to do it all by ourselves and having this like crazy results, it takes too long. So where can you delegate? Where can you find people that are down to support your vision? And then you have something that you could support them with. Delegating. Community-driven visibility. So your marketing doesn't only rely on you posting. This has been huge for me. I've really, to be honest, even though I've had a marketing company, I was doing marketing for small businesses. Now, Ventura County Business Women, I think, is a different model because it's all based on collaboration. So a lot of our growth comes because I'm tagging Kristen, I'm tagging Zoya, I'm tagging Rainey. I think, Rainey, you've done oh my God, Elevate series, right? So then we tag you and then she reshares it. Zoya is a table feature at CNC, then she reshares it. So also in some way in your business, kind of thinking, no matter what your model is, how can I get more collaborations where I'm tagging people? People are seeing me connecting. You're utilizing other people's platforms. Again, we want to make sure those are in alignment. But just posting to social media, I think, again, it takes a long time. So like what groups, who could you get connected with? Really using community and collabs to drive your marketing. That last one didn't need to be said. Okay, sweet. I'm gonna take a breath there. Those are some things that I've dealt with, that I deal with, that we're still trying to work through. Processes that I put in place that have helped me not bottleneck so much in my marketing. And then we're gonna shift this over to Kristen. She's gonna drop you in.
Awesome, thank you. I don't want to repeat too much of what you said, but Tawny just kind of named like all the ways that we could be bottlenecking in our marketing. And there are other ways that we can bottleneck in our business. Like, again, like what I was talking about with capacity, if you have too many people coming and then you can't serve that many people, there's a capacity issue. Or maybe your marketing is good, but it's not necessarily like the visibility part is good, but it's not necessarily converting to sales. Then you have a sales bottleneck. So there are different bottlenecks, and so I think it'll be really great to sit down and just kind of do a simple exercise on like, how can you identify where you're bottlenecking in your business? But I will say, as far as marketing, I think one of the most important things for me, and Tawny touched on this, is just talking to people, like talking to as many people as you can and really listening to their story when it comes to your business. You're listening to what their pain points are and how you can help transform that in whatever service it is that you do. Like, you're really listening to their story. And as an introvert, I'll tell you, it was really, really hard for me to go out and just start talking to people. That was the hardest thing for me. But the more that you do, the more it does open the door to collaborations and word of mouth. And, it just opens up so much possibility. And it also, just hearing people's stories and really listening to what they need helps you figure out your message clarity. And if your message is clear, people are not going to get confused when they go to your Instagram or they get a newsletter from you. They're not going to be confused about what it is that you do. So my biggest thing, like when we do social media, I tell our clients, like, we're going to have to really, really focus on one call to action and stick with that one call to action, not 5 or 6, just one strong ask, like that you're asking people to come do a service with you or shop in your shop, whatever it is. That call to action can be worded differently, but you don't want to ask too many things. So in your visibility, what you would want to do is bring people into that one call to action, right? And if you have other services, once they're in the door, you can talk about your other services. But in your marketing online, like, you just want to talk about that one thing to get them in the door and not confuse it with all the other things, if that makes sense. And every now and then you can sprinkle the other things in, but the call to action is still the same. And that one single thing has really transformed a lot of my social media clients, like businesses, growth and visibility, because the message is clear. So, and that for me was the hardest part to get in the beginning. When I started marketing for my own business, I wasn't really sure what message was going to land with people. And I realized that by talking to people and listening to their stories, I know exactly what they need now, so I know how to reach them, and I know how to reach all the people that need this. So I think that was the biggest thing for me. And then also Tani talked about delegation. Delegation is huge. I've been in a place where I'm like, I really need help with these things, but I can't really afford it right now. But if I get more clients, then I can afford it. And it's that thing that we go through, well, do I hire now and just like pinch pennies, and then I can grow, or which one comes first, But again, that goes back to talking to people, because a lot of people want to get involved in what you're doing if they feel like, hey, I really love what you're doing, I want to be a part of it, and so you never know how other people want to come in and help and be a part of it. So as far as identifying your gap in your business, there's just a couple questions to ask. So I would ask first, are you showing up? And that doesn't just mean online, but it means, like, are you dedicating a certain amount of time every single day to be consistent and to show up and talk to people? And if you're not, then that would be a visibility problem. And so just kind of take some notes and identify, am I showing up? Am I talking to people about what I do? Even, I don't want to toot my own horn and talk about myself all the time, but you're really hearing other people's stories and then, like, oh my gosh, like I do that. I can help you with that, And so it becomes less of an icky thing and more of a, wow, this can really be good for both of us. And then the next question I would ask is, do people understand me? And that goes back to that one call to action that I was talking about. Is your message clear? Do you have a clear signal, or is there a lot of scattered things in your messaging? And then the next one is, are you posting? And if you're not, that could go back to perfectionism, because that really slows us down. We want it to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect, especially the visuals and things like that. They are important when it comes to brand recognition, but it's all about message clarity and being consistent with it. And then, are people taking action? Are they coming once you get your message out there and you are being visible and people are understanding your message? Are they taking action? And so that would be about really getting clear on what that one call to action is if they're not taking action, and noticing, like, are people clicking through? Are they booking calls with you? Again, it depends on your business, but And then if you feel really scattered, that's the next question. Do you feel really scattered? And that might be a structure and systems thing. So if you're constantly reacting to what comes next and the next thing in your business of what do I do about this? What do I do about that? We want to get to a place where we're no longer reacting, that we have a specific system set up and we know how it's structured and it's going to go that way. And so it really, really mitigates a lot of curveballs. and those questions like, what do I do about this? What do I do about that? Well, you know what you're going to do if you have a clear system and structure around what you're doing. And then once you identify what your bottleneck is, just name it. Just be honest about where you're stuck. And then think, okay, I'm going to simplify this. What's the smallest action I can take from here? Once you name it, what's the smallest action you can take? Is it making another post this week, or maybe planning out 2 weeks of posts or a month of posts and scheduling it for yourself and just taking a batch content day? Or, what's the smallest action you can take? Going and talking to a few more people every day. You just make a goal. I'm going to talk to 3 people today, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then the third step would be, once you take that action and you decide what that course of action is, create consistency around it. So just decide, how can I make sure that I'm going to be consistent with these next steps? And just kind of some examples, like if visibility is the problem, okay, I'm going to post 3 times a week no matter what. And if messaging is the problem, I'll clearly say what I do in every single post. Doesn't have to be worded the same, but I'm just going to be really clear in every single post. And if perfection's the problem, then give yourself a time limit. Be like, okay, I'm going to spend this many minutes on this post, and if it's not perfect, that's okay. Life is messy and it's okay, and I'm just going to get it out there. And if the call to action is the problem, then decide, I'm going to tell people exactly what to do, exactly their steps each time. So they're not guessing, they're not asking me questions constantly. Like, it's really clear all over the internet how to move through working with me. And then if systems are the problem, then maybe you just create 3 content pillars weekly and rotate them weekly. Like, this week I'm going to talk about, say you're an acupuncture practice, this week I'm going to talk about just education about acupuncture. And next week I'm going to talk about how acupuncture has transformed the lives of some of the people that I've worked with. And then the next week I'm going to show behind the scenes inside my space, So just kind of themes around what your content is about. So this isn't like necessarily about like a lot of strategy or anything. It's just about taking that next step to improve the consistency and then removing friction about what's slowing you down. Like, maybe you're second guessing all your decisions or how you respond to people when things get hard. I know that's where I get stuck. I'm like, oh gosh, I want to make sure that like I have clear, firm boundaries, but at the same time, like, I love my people and I want them to know I love them, but I need to have boundaries too. So Tawny, I'll turn it back to you. I would also love to hear about, what your businesses are, and kind of go around in a minute when we have a chance.
Yeah, I think that's a good, I'm going to stop the recording there. Hang on a second.